This is where complicated digital strategy feels more like a conversation with friends. Coming up on today's show, often imitated, never duplicated. Are the kids all right? We dive into the chaos of trying to figure out our tech driven lives. Everything from is Blue Sky's Skylight feature really a revolution for social media or just another walled garden in disguise, to wild AI induced psychosis with ChatGPT and the risk of letting a machine mirror our deepest thoughts. Ready to break free from and make some major moves? That and more coming up, but in the meantime, grab that coffee, bite that donut, and once Twitter got bought out by Elon Musk and he changed the name to X and people were just in outrage. I was in outrage because he changed one thing that I really, really, really think is important, and that is taking away two-step authentication for regular profiles and making you have to pay for them, but that's a story for another time. Blue Sky came in, tried to save the day and said, hey, if you want to be able to have full freedom of speech no matter what side you're on, come on over to Blue Sky. We're zero nonsense. So they have a short form video app called Skylight. And what they're trying to do is make it an alternative to TikTok so that you don't have just a whole bunch of mindless content. It's a little bit more focused because it's derived from your actual Blue Sky account, right? Skylight users can log in with their Blue Sky credentials, allowing seamless sharing of content across both platforms. And this integration enables users to retain their followers and content to foster a unified social experience, which I thought was really cool. So if you've ever been a part of some of these integrations with other social media platforms, that you have to start from scratch once you start that new application. And it gets really annoying to have to go and foster the relationships again and build things up, especially if you have a big presence on the OG site, right? So like Instagram and Threads, for example. If you were already on Instagram, you had 10,000 followers and you went over to Threads, you had to start over from scratch. So Blue Sky is seeing this issue and saying, nah, let's go ahead and get you started with the people that you already have, right? Skylight's design encourages community engagement and content creation, particularly among marginalized groups seeking alternative platforms. I think the biggest takeaway for Blue Sky and Skylight is that they are trying their hardest to make sure that the true nature of your profile shines through. So if you are a content creator who's in technology and you want to be helpful and make how-to videos, or you want to be the light, no pun intended, that shines through to people of color or marginalized backgrounds or whatever, this is the space that you can do it safely, right? That's their whole claim to fame, right? I think it's going to be interesting to see how they approach ownership, and I think it's something to take note of because Blue Sky is really starting to get on the heels of some of these other big performers. One of the main takeaways that I have written here is that Blue Sky and Skylight emphasize decentralization, granting users greater control over their data and online identity, and contrasting from regular, when I say regular, just our known social media platforms, which often centralize control and data ownership. So we can look at this and say, okay, it sounds good. On paper, it sounds good. What does it look like in real life? I'm going to do some social experiments with this and we'll report back on it so that we can see what actually is happening with Blue Sky, and is it worth jumping ship so that you can go over there, or do you add it to your digital strategy? Because I am a firm believer, like if it's something that can just naturally integrate with your existing digital strategy, why not? Right? If you're already making videos for TikTok, for Instagram, for YouTube Shorts, for Facebook, why not have one more platform that you can put it out to? Because there might be an audience there that you're not tapping into, or your core audience that you really want to tap into lives there. So let's keep this one on the forefront. I think I'm going to do a social experiment with this, right? What is the future of social media in terms of user control, content moderation, and community building? We don't know. But with applications really taking a stance on giving the users the power and owning their data and owning all of their content. I think that it's a good measure of faith. Okay. ChatGPT is giving people extreme delusions. Have you all heard about this? Okay. Let's give some context first, because I think it's really important when we have conversations about artificial intelligence, ChatGPT and whomever, that we have context to these conversations, because sometimes things are taken out of perspective. And I really do feel like there's this really weird thing happening in media when it comes to AI, where it's being very divisive, right? Either you're super pro AI or you're like anti AI, will never touch it, right? And I think it's really important to be somewhere in the middle, to be moderate about it, to have some reservation about artificial intelligence, but also have some curiosity, right? So the context of this is that ChatGPT and similar AI chatbots are becoming a main source for people to ask questions and get help with understanding complex topics. One of those things is spirituality. And I don't know if you've all seen some of the memes that are out there floating around on the internet, but there are people that are asking ChatGPT questions as if it's their spiritual leader or it's their therapist, which hypothetically, I don't see a problem in asking those questions, because there's so much information on the internet that it can grasp from, that it can give you a summary of some understanding of a thing or an idea. Where it gets crazy is there are users that have reported experiences ranging from believing they've unlocked universal secrets to considering that AI is a divine entity. Y'all, come on. I don't know. It's when I said extreme delusions, this is what I'm talking about, right? These delusions may stem from a combination of pre-existing mental health conditions and the AI's tendency to mirror user inputs without critical feedback. So this mirroring happens with all the different types of chatbots. And basically what it is that what you put in, it's going to give you something similar back, hence the name mirroring, right? So when people are putting in all this information and all these details, not only is the chatbot scrubbing the internet to try to support some of the things that you're asking about and give you answers for, but it's also going to give it back to you in a way that supports the way that you asked it. So that can be a little shaky, especially because people are truly believing that it's a divine entity. Okay. So many thoughts on this. So there's questions surrounding the lack of ethical boundaries in AI chatbots. People are really asking about like the role of AI when it comes to mental health, and also just like where do we draw the line in the way that AI actually responds and all these different things. I challenge this idea though, because I'm just like, fam, you should be able to use a tool and know that it's a tool responding back to your inquiry. You should be able to make that distinction. What is happening is that people are starting to blur those lines, and we don't have enough data to show if it's really like a mental health issue or if this is something that is designated to just AI. Is this something that is happening in the human behavior naturally through our existence in an internet-driven society, or is it something else? Is it that it's an undiagnosed symptom or some type of disorder that we don't know what it is yet? The growing trend of AI-induced delusions has promoted discussions around the need for regulatory frameworks and safeguards in AI development. Ensuring that AI tools are designed with mental health considerations in mind is crucial to prevent potential harm to users. So basically having a line that says, hey, we're just a tool and we're telling you some of the things that could benefit you. However, not all results may vary. That actually came about. Results may vary. That whole line, that sentence came about because of people believing 110% whatever the claim is and thinking like, oh, I too can be a part of said result. But if you're not doing all the things, or sometimes people just don't have the same results, they had to put that in there because I'm sure people got sued. People were like, I didn't make $1 million doing this, whatever. I didn't make a lot of money doing shoe sales, but you told me I would. And it's, oh, results may vary. Let's go ahead and just put that disclaimer in there. So maybe it's more of a question of adding disclaimers, putting people's regulations in place so that they can not internalize as much and think that AI is a sentient being, right? A lot of stuff to consider, especially because it's only going to be around for the rest of our lives. AI is getting better, it's getting smarter, it's getting faster. So we have to make sure that we are taking care of those people who can't necessarily make those type of decisions on their own or those type of distinctions on their own. And we have to protect people who don't necessarily know how to protect themselves. And I'm thinking more about like the younger generations who may not know how to distinguish between what's 100% reality, their reality, versus a reality that's being configured in front of them. All right, so more Donuts, Coffee, and Tech. I'm your host, Danielle J, aka Danielle Johnson. Do you have a digital win this week and you want to share it? Dial 1-800-920-1580 to join the conversation. Woo, you're just in time for the Donut Shop Talk segment where we stir up the truth on culture and sprinkle it with the, oh wait, was that about me? And today's flavor, we are talking about touching grass. I know it sounds hilarious, but hear me out. It's really important that we get this across, right? Because if we're being honest, the timeline has started to feel less like a party and more like a group chat from HE double hockey sticks. Twitter is now X, but it's still giving Why Am I Here vibes. TikTok can't decide if it's a dance app or a congressional hearing. Meta's got you in an algorithmic chokehold, and Instagram, whew. Instagram is like that friend who peaked in college but still insists that they're booked and busy. And now people are leaving. Recent studies are showing that Meta is steadily declining in meaningful engagement since 2023. TikTok users are spending less time scrolling and more time searching for value. Instagram Reels are giving folks fatigue, especially for Black creators getting shadow banned for breathing wrong. Twitter, X, is so chaotic. It's basically a group of bots yelling into the void sponsored by crypto scams. And folks aren't just logging off. We're opting out. Because it's not just burnout, we're really just trying to get more clarity. So when I say touching grass, I really do mean that. Getting offline, prioritizing your peace over post, sanity over strategy. We outside again, and it's not in the look at my brunch kind of way. Walks without our phones, silent book clubs, gardening like our ancestors got us in a group plan from the afterlife. And let's talk about Discord, because that's one of my favorite apps. I signed up back in 2020 when we had to find creative ways to connect with people. And you might have heard of it recently, because if 2024 is the year of exhaustion, whew, and boy was it exhausting. 2025 is giving curated connections only. I love how people are really disbanding from the primary social media apps and trying to find conversations with some of these other social media apps that prioritize community. Discord saw an uptick of 40% signups in the past year alone. Why? Because people want smaller rooms with better vibes, moderated conversations that actually matter, community without surveillance capitalism breathing down their necks. And if you haven't heard, Meta and all the rest of these other social media platforms are really trying to keep you on their apps because they know that time is limited for the way that they're handling business. Okay, so speaking of Meta, I don't know if you've heard about what has been happening with them and recent whistleblowers, right? So someone that used to work at Facebook confirmed what we've already felt in our spirit and saw with our own eyes, that Meta intentionally prioritizes divisive content because it keeps you scrolling and it keeps advertisers paying. They're not really caring so much about connection as much as they're caring about conflict. They'll serve you that rage bait, click bait, trauma clips, and misinformation, all while claiming to build community only to keep you on their platforms. The only community that is happening on these platforms are audience pools for the highest bidders. The only thing they're building is a hot mess and a data farm. Do you remember when social media was social? Man, I miss that. It used to be fun. Now it's a casino with worse lighting and no free drinks. But there's an upside to all this. I want you all to take note. We are collectively becoming more aware, and Black folks are the pioneers, the digital innovators. Period. We made Twitter fun. We made memes go global. We are the culture. But now we're taking that genius offline because real connection can't be algorithmically filtered. Hilarious. We're hosting in-person workshops, wellness retreats, co-working pop-ups for techies and creators, and private chat spaces where engagement means actual care. Doing what we do. No bots, no burnout, no optimize this real energy. Not everybody else is catching on. In fact, creators are saying that they'd rather have 100 people who get it than 10,000 who just scroll. Now look, there are still folks out there trying to force it, and I know you see it. And you know the type. They're the ones that live for the 3-hour lives where they're just talking to two people as if they're on CNN. Or the folks resharing their own posts or stories in case you missed it. Girl, no one missed it. Wait, I do that. My bad, I do that. But not for that reason. These apps are just buried with all the different ads, and they really do make you feel like you're being sold to every moment that you're on their platforms. Then there's this other crowd that we know very well. It's the shadow ban crowd, when really your content just ain't hidden. I hate to break it to you, but these different platforms that you say that you're shadow banned on aren't really getting much out of your content being out to the world. That's why they're not really showing it to anyone. We are taking back our energy. We're not chasing trends that disappear faster than a DoorDash driver. We want meaning, not metrics. So what does this mean for us? We don't need to be everywhere. We need to be intentional. That's number one. We don't need to chase the algorithm. We need to protect our peace. So important. We don't need to perform connection. We need to build it. The mass exodus is not just about leaving social media. It's about returning to self, to boundaries, to breath, to brunch that doesn't have to be content. So here's your insight for the week. Touching grass is the real goal. Choosing silence over scrolls is a part of your self-care. And logging off, sometimes it's the most revolutionary thing that you can do. Because when the apps stop serving you, it's time to stop serving the apps. And understand that where you exist, everywhere you are. It's an old adage that I love, and I had to give y'all that too. Your peace is not up for monetization. Your attention is not a product, and your worth, it never depended on engagement. Unplug. The real world misses you. And I'm here to tell you that no matter where you're at on your journey, whether you're just beginning on social media, you've been on social media, or you've gotten off social media and recently got back on, where you are in your life is more important than anything that you will ever post on any one of these platforms. Being equated to a piece of or a number that is going to get advertisers to buy more is not the sole focus of your life. You have to look at your life and the greater meaning of it all and go outside and touch some grass. All right, so touch grass, make sure you breathe, set up those boundaries. If you're eating brunch today, you don't necessarily have to take pictures or a video. We don't need a recap on what you ate. It's all good. And understand that you're more than a number. It is all good to just be you, be a human, and get off of these internet streets because it gets wild. It gets really wild. Oh, that's what I forgot to tell you all. If you feel like you're being shadow banned right now, and you used to get like a whole bunch of views on all your content, and you're just like, oh man, now I'm just getting 5-10 views or something crazy like that. we need to talk about your settings, but we also need to talk about the content that you're making, because a lot of shifts are happening so that people can be on these platforms a little bit longer. And I think I'm going to do a case study on it just so that I can go into it into more detail. But I'll give you a quick tip really fast. So if you go on your Instagram and that you're not getting as many views, go to your settings and make sure that when you share a reel that you're allowing people to reuse your reel, because that's going to help the algorithm understand that this is like a community reel, that is something that you want people to be able to like repost. It sounds crazy. There's a part of me that doesn't like it because it's like opening up the floodgate when it comes to like plagiarism or whatever. But there's a piece of that where it's, if you allow people to reuse your content for the sake of edutainment is what they call it, where it's like education and entertainment mixed together, that goes a long way in what the algorithm sees as meaningful content. The other thing is, if you share a reel and you're still seeing like lack of engagement, hide your likes for a day or two and then reveal them again, because sometimes the social proof is a part of people engaging with your content. And use trials. Boom. That was it. I'm your host, Danielle J, guiding you through the latest in social media, mindset, and monetization. Dial 1-800-920-1580 to join the conversation. Now it's time for Tech Tapped In. Welcome to the part of the show where we spotlight wins from our community and pull back the curtain on tech moves making a big impact. Whether that's a tool that saved the day or a content strategy that finally clicked, or it could be a late night idea that turned into something major. This is where we break it down, celebrate it, and help you get tapped into. Because when one of us wins, we all get the blueprint. And this week, we're exploring a thought-provoking concept that's been making waves, this social media recession that is happening. Inspired by a recent Instagram reel by Eugene Brandstrat, this idea suggests that just economic downturns, social media platforms experience periods of reduced engagement and reach. So let's break this down and see what this looks like and how we can win in this. So this idea of a social media recession refers to a notable decline in user engagement, reach, and overall platform performance. Now, we talked about it a little bit earlier on the show where Meta, TikTok, even YouTube sometimes goes through this lull in numbers. And part of it is people becoming more aware of, oh, there's a bunch of advertisements, there's a bunch of content that just doesn't resonate well. But there's other things that happen in addition to some of those factors, and that is like the algorithm changes, where platforms like Instagram frequently update algorithms which impact content visibility. When you change your algorithm so much, and basically I love talking about algorithm so much because there's just this misconception that algorithm is just one thing. Algorithm, if you change algorithm to mean priority, which is really what it is, any one of these apps have a different priority at a different given time based off of what they need from it. But when you change your priorities so often, like how Instagram does, it damages what people see and damages the engagement, because people will go on with a certain expectation. And if that expectation is shifted in a week's time, a month's time, it can make people get a bad taste in their mouth and be like, I'm good. Another thing is content saturation. With an overwhelming amount of content being produced, standing out becomes increasingly challenging. We talk about this a lot on the show, where if you're in a certain lane of content creation, or you're a techie that's creating content, or you are someone who is looking to get into content creation as a person in technology or anything adjacent, it can be really challenging because there's just so many different people out there that are doing similar things that come from similar backgrounds. So that can also have something to do with it's part of the social media recession. User fatigue is a really big piece to this, where audience become disengaged due to repetitive content or platform overuse. So going back into the content saturation piece, because there's so many people that are producing the same thing over and over again, it can make the user feel like, I just saw this video. Oh, I have a really good example of this. So I was on YouTube the other day, just minding my business. And I was like, oh, you know what I want to look up because I want to get better at this? How do you create reaction videos from your phone? And for those of you who aren't all the way familiar with what a reaction video is or what qualifies as a reaction video, think about those videos that you see where somebody is in front of a green screen and behind them is somebody else's content. And the most notable reaction videos, and I hate these ones, is when the people make themselves really small on the screen and they have this big image or this video playing in the background and they keep pointing at it like, oh, what they said. I hate those so much, but that's a reaction video. Another one is like where you see people side by side with the content and similar energy where they're just pointing over. Yep. But then there's also reaction videos where people are talking and like actually reacting and responding to things. It got really big on YouTube where people were reacting and responding to like movies and shows and things of that sort. Music. So I looked on YouTube and I said, hey, how do I make a reaction video on my phone? I kid you not. There were 3 videos right on top of each other because I looked on my laptop. 3 videos on top of each other. And I started the first one. It had a very specific intro. And I was like, okay, let's see what he's talking about. I got halfway through the video. I was like, this isn't helpful. Went to the second one. It was the exact same scripting, same angles, same everything, just a different content creator. Went to the third one. Exact same scripting, same angles, different content creator. And it's this rinse and repeat mentality that has happened with content creation. It's really making it hard as a user to enjoy the content anymore. Even on a how-to video, it was like, are you kidding me? That you all really just did the same thing. And I wish I could say that it was AI. I wish I could, because that would actually make more sense, right? It wasn't. It was 3 individuals. 3 different people did the exact same thing for this how-to video. So that's part of the user fatigue. Looking at these pieces of content that are literally regurgitations of one another over and over again. All these combined create a challenging environment for content creators and marketers to strive and maintain their audience's attention. So let's get into the numbers. The engagement decline on Instagram has decreased by 28% year over year and now standing at a 0.5% decrease for this year alone. Reach reduction. In 2023, Instagram accounts experienced a 50% decrease in reach through Reels compared to 2022. User behavior shift that's happening. The average daily time spent using social media is 2 hours and 21 minutes. This is a plateau, and it's showing that user engagement is plateauing as well. These statistics underscore the challenges faced by content creators in maintaining visibility and engagement on social media platforms. So, with all of that being said, it's like, how do we go against the grain with these challenges and have effective strategies so that we can navigate and thrive during this social media recession? First thing first, diversify your platforms. Don't rely solely on one platform. I know you've heard the old adage, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Let's make that apply here too, right? Excuse me. You want to explore emerging platforms like TikTok or LinkedIn to reach new audiences, and make sure that you are being intentional about where you're at, because each platform has like a slightly different audience that it appeals to. So making sure that you are appealing to the audience that you're using the platform for. Second thing is prioritizing quality over quantity. I cannot emphasize this enough. I remember when there was a time where you had to post 5 times a day, every day. Like you just had to. You had to either be on stories, reels, posts, this, that, whatever. And the idea was you wanted to saturate the market so that you can get visibility. But now, because everything is shifting over, you want to put out quality content over a whole bunch of content, because people are looking for what's going to stand out. So remember the days of high production value social media content? I think we're going to start getting back to that. That's my prediction, is that we're slowly shifting back into the high production days where you could take a little bit longer if it's going to be really quality content and have really good, like a really good message, as opposed to just putting out a whole bunch of stuff and hoping that something sticks, right? Another thing is to engage authentically. Fam, I just cannot stress this enough. You have to engage authentically. You have to. No more one emoji to respond to somebody, thumbs up, like a thing. You can't be on that type of time. One, because people are going to think you're a robot. Once they think you're a robot, it's a wrap. You're out of there. Nobody's going to want to engage with your content or with you as a brand. Like, it's that simple. But the other thing is helping build those genuine relationships by having real conversation, right? These folks are looking to foster loyalty and trust, but you're cutting them off by just responding with an emoji. Come on, fam. We can do better, right? Next thing is leverage analytics. Make sure that you are looking at the data. See what's going on with your content. Because if you're just shooting in the dark and hoping that you hit the target, you're going to continue to be in the dark. Turn that light on. Look at what that looks like. Look at your performance of your content that's already out there and repurpose some of your old stuff. If it did good before, let's see if it does good again. Start doing A/B testing. See if it's the title that's throwing people off, if it's the thumbnail. What is it about your content that people are resonating with, and stick with what works. And last but not least, stay adaptable. Be prepared to pivot your approach in response to changing platform dynamics and audience preferences, because things change a lot all the time, right? Look, the social media recession is really just a reminder that digital landscapes are ever evolving. Success in this environment requires adaptability, resilience, and a commitment to authentic engagement. Again, authentic engagement. Say it with me now. Authentic engagement. All right. By understanding the factors contributing to decreased engagement and implementing strategic responses, creators and brands can not only weather the downturn, but emerge stronger and more connected to their audiences. All right. So that's it for our Tech Tapped In. Make sure that you are doing some of these things, but the first step is being really aware of like how your content is performing right now. And if it worked before, see if it works again. I want to hear about your wins though, your lessons, and who's on your media dream list. Call in at 1-800-920-1580 or tap in with me on all the different social media platforms at the Danielle J. That way we can get some of these conversations going about if some of this Tech Tapped In data has helped you, or if you have some type of rebuttal, because I want to hear all of it, right? More Donuts, Coffee, and Tech when we come forward on the Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. Fam, you're listening to Donuts, Coffee, and Tech on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm your host, Danielle J. Oh my God, I love that song so much. I'm not going to lie. Lakeside is one of my favorite bands too. It's all the way live. That's right. Hey. Whew, okay. So, it's time for that one thing that's going to make a big difference. Welcome to the secret ingredient segment. We are going to spotlight a product, platform, or piece of tech that's helping people level up, whether that's in business, content creation, or just showing up more confidently in the digital space. And this week, we're talking about live streaming, okay? We talked about this last week. I wanted to double down on it because I got a lot of DMs asking like, okay, can you talk a little bit more about that Restream app that you was talking about? And it's my pleasure because I use Restream all the time to stream on multiple platforms. And if you're like, okay, so what do you mean by streaming? What qualifies as a stream? Okay, so when you're on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, let's just do TikTok as an example because I'm live on TikTok. There's a portion of TikTok where you can go live. So when people are scrolling, they can stop and start interacting with you here. But let's say you're on TikTok and you're like, man, it'd be so cool if I could go live on TikTok and on Instagram at the same time. Boom, multi-streaming right there. Just like that. What if you're like, oh, but I also have a YouTube? Okay, boom, you could do that one too. So Restream is one of the few apps that allow you to do the multi-streaming in one platform, and you can actually respond to people chatting on each live stream at the same time. I love Restream. It is one of the best apps that I've ever invested in, and I'm just going to sing its praises until the end of time. It's a multi-streaming tool that lets you go live and get across different platforms at the same time, but the other piece of this is that you can schedule your live streams in advance so that you can have more consistency and you can promote your events. You can invite guests, and there's no downloads or weird tech setups, so they can just go live with you, right? You can customize your stream with logos, overlays, nameplates, and even tickers at the bottom of the screen if you want to run live updates. And like I said before, you get to talk to everybody at the same time. So if people are chatting on Instagram, it doesn't really show a difference in where they're at, but it shows them all in the same platform. So it's, oh, this person said, hey, great job. You can just respond to them in real time. No more tech overwhelm. No more leaving audiences out. You get to show up once and everywhere that you need to be, right? What's the big thing about this? I'm going to go to their website right now so that I can tell you exactly what we're looking at investment wise. Okay. In real time right now, as this is being aired, they have a free plan, which is $0 forever. You get to multi-stream on 2 channels and you get to keep local recordings of your stream, which is so powerful in and of itself. The one that I have is the standard. It's $16 a month when you have it billed yearly. This one lets you multi-stream 3 channels. There's no watermark on the video at all. Then you get unlimited cloud recordings, which means that you get to keep a version of your recordings unlimitedly, right? I don't even know if that's a word, unlimitedly. Professionals $39 a month, billed yearly, and business is $199 a month, billed yearly. But right now, as part of our fam, if you go to my page at the Danielle J, I have a link for you so that you can try the version that I'm using right now for free. So go over to my account at the Danielle J on Instagram, get that link so that you can unlock this tool, play around with it, see if you like it, see if it's something that's beneficial to your business and your content creation strategy and your digital marketing plan, and let me know how you like it. Send me a DM and say, hey, this was awesome, or hey, this was trash. Either way, I want to know. All right. So that's been it for today's secret ingredient. More donuts, coffee, and tech when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. What up, fam? Welcome forward. This is Donuts, Coffee, and Tech with Danielle J on KBLA Talk 1580. Hey, listen, we just wrapped up a fire episode of Donuts, Coffee, and Tech, and you don't want to sleep on it. We have a replay happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. We talked about everything from outrage to opportunity, algorithms to outreach, and this episode was really your reminder that tech is powerful, but what you do with it matters the most. We kicked off a Blue Sky talking about their new app. We talked about ChatGPT giving folks induced psychosis. Lord have mercy. We also talked about some of the things that are happening with the mass exodus from social media. There's just so many aspects that we talked about today. And I want you all to listen to the full thing from the top if you missed it tomorrow. Same bat station, different bat time, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time if you want to hear the repeat of today's episode. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in live. You all are amazing. I'm just so in awe of the support that has been coming from KBLA 1580 fam and all the folks that are a part of the fam online everywhere else. And thank you so much to the folks who helped make this possible. I want to say thank you very much to the Garden Studio. Thank you very much to Yaneska Lee. Thank you very much to all my Gemini twins whose birthday season it is. My birthday's on Monday, so I'm going to keep saying what's up to all the Geminis all June long. And thank you so much to everyone in Leimert Park who's been just showing so much love with all the different things every Saturday. Like every time I go over there, it's just, hey, what's up? You on the radio? Come check out this coffee shop or come check out this clothing store or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, that's super dope. All right. So follow me on social media at the Danielle J so you can get all the freebies we talked about during the show. Stay connected with us on all of the podcasting platforms. Stay tuned for your dose of entertainment news with Jill Monroe. This has been Danielle J, your social media plug, transforming your strategy and mindset into digital success. We'll see you next weekend. Be safe. Love you. Peace. Tap in this Saturday. I'll see you there.